Here's a reality check for electrical business owners making over $200,000 annually. You're probably getting crushed online by electricians who can barely wire a 3-way switch correctly. I'm Leonard Parker from Destiny Marketing Solutions, and today I'm giving you the exact 10-step SEO checklist that separates the electricians who dominate Google from those who are invisible when customers need them the most. And here's the thing that's going to shock you. Most electrical businesses are making the same critical mistakes that keep them buried on page 2 of Google while their competitors are booking 3 jobs before lunch. Stick around because at the end, I'll share an expert tip using Google Search Console that can identify your fastest SEO wins without creating any new content. Your future customers are searching. Most never get past page 1 of Google. They're either clicking on a local service ad somewhere on the map pack or on one of the organic search listings on the first page. They need a local pro who shows up, shows proof, and shows they give a damn. You're not just another electrician, you're the one who gets found. Let's make sure Google agrees. Here's the key takeaway. Visibility isn't vanity, it's survival, and it's 100% within your control. Let's start with number 10. And this one's going to save you from a massive headache down the road. So let's say you're starting your business this week and you have any idea that you may want to scale to other cities outside of your local service area in the future. You may even want to look into working in other states, bordering states, depending on where you are in the country. Highly recommend setting up your website URL structure so that you build pages targeting each state you serve before drilling into cities. So let's say you're based in Florida and you can serve multiple regions of the state. So you can have something like floridaelectrician.com/Florida, and that would be your state page. And then nested under that state page, you would have something like .com/Florida/Miami/Orlando/Jacksonville and so forth. Having that Florida page, it helps provide structure to your website, establishes a great architecture. So it's easy for humans and also search engine crawlers to be able to find what's on your website. More important, this keeps your site clean and keeps you from multiple pages on your site competing for the same keywords. In SEO, we call that cannibalization. So pretty much each page is competing with each other, which you shouldn't be competing with your own pages. You should be competing with your competitors' pages. Setting up your site structure like this makes it easier to scale and track performance. And Google prefers logical URL structure for local intent. So another example, I'm based in Texas. So let's say we have an electrician. So you could be something like /electrician/Texas/Houston. And let's say my electrical service company also serves Austin, similar, but replace Houston with Austin. But let's say I'm growing and now I have crews that can go out to Louisiana. Maybe I have crews that are in West Texas. They can go into New Mexico. So you can do something like /New Mexico/Las Cruces and so forth. So starting at the state level, as I mentioned, it makes it easier to scale into high converting city pages while creating a messy website that confuses both Google and your customers. Number 9 is something 90% of electrical businesses completely ignore, and it's costing them rankings. Post consistently using key services and location mentions on your Google business profile. You can easily repurpose your blog posts or project site videos and just simply add them to your Google business profile. In the caption section of your Google business profile post, you do want to call out the type of project you've just completed or whatever it is that you're talking about in the blog or the video. You also want to call out the location. So make sure you emphasize the location especially if you live in a large metro area where maybe there's several prominent neighborhoods in the city. Make sure that you're calling out those locations, because those can definitely help with what we call hyper local targeting, where let's say someone is searching for a specific area within Los Angeles or any other big city for that matter. You want to mix educational and offer-based posts. This helps Google understand your relevance and recency. So for example, maybe as we're getting to the summer months, you want to mention something about electrical hazards to be aware of for your home for the summer. So you can do more of those value type educational content. And then maybe you have an offer where you provide some type of audit or some type of emergency service meant for new home buyers as they go into their first summer in their home. So you always want to err on adding more educational posts. However, you also want to use this opportunity to promote different offers that you might be providing your customers and prospects. More signals equals better map pack placement. And that's where the money is, that local map pack that pops up at the top of the screen right under your local service ads. This is the reality. Active profiles win. Google Business Profile posts are your SEO fuel, not fluff. While your competitors are posting once a month about Happy Friday, or you should be posting about that panel upgrade you just completed, or that emergency call you handled. Number 8 is technical, and I'm going to do a quick detour and show you a quick way to develop schema for your site. But it's like having a secret conversation with Google about your business. You want to use JSON LD schema, and JSON LD schema, to put it into layman's terms, this is a special code that you can add to your site. It's written in a structure that search engine crawlers understand, and it can provide more context about the content on that page. So is it a services page? Is it a FAQ page? Do you have video on the page, and so forth? And you can use schema to highlight services, locations, reviews, and FAQs. Schema implementation helps search engines read your site accurately. It can also boost rich snippet visibility in local search and supports AI-powered visibility through LLMs and the Google Search generative experience. And if you watch any of my videos, you know that I'm all in on AI-powered search and how it's going to change your discoverability on Google and other search engines for the long term. Make sure you're updating schema regularly as your site content evolves. So if you add a new page on your site or a new category of pages, make sure that you have schema to support that content type. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. I'm a big believer in using templates. So let's say if we're building out a site for a new client, having a service page template, and then on that service page template, make sure that we are using all of the appropriate schema, and then we can just duplicate that service page template as often as we need it. I suggest being efficient and doing something similar with your site. Most of your competitors won't have schema set up correctly, so this is a way to give you an unfair advantage in the search results. And if you are in a competitive metro area where you might see some of your electrician competitors, they have thousands of reviews, you have to win at the margins. So any little advantage, however small, can help you in the long term. And as I mentioned, I'm going to do a quick detour here. ChatGPT is great for a lot of things. If you're not using it, highly suggest, not just for marketing things, but can also help with other things related to your work, to project management, operations, and so forth. Here in ChatGPT, I simply gave it the prompt, give me an example of a JSON LD schema for an electrician. And this isn't a real company, but it wrote some really good JSON LD here. And then what you can do is copy. And I use a tool called a rich results test. There's different options out there to test the schema, but if you just do Google rich results test schema, this should be the first search result. You'll be able to pop it in to the code, and I already added it here. And you can see that it validates. So when you see all green check marks, that's great. Now, of course, when you're building or if you're using this approach for your website, you want to give it more information about like the name of your company. You want to upload your company logo, provide your phone number, and so forth. And then once you have validated schema code, then you can copy and paste this and add this to the back end of the page where you intended for it to go. Many website platforms like WordPress allows you to do this at the site level to where you don't have to add schema individually for each page. So I won't go into much detail there because I know viewers might have different website platforms that they use, but always see how you can implement these things as efficiently as possible. Now moving back to my slides here, here's number 7, and this is where you turn your completed work into SEO gold. Don't just list jobs, document them properly. Your title should look something like this on the job or your project page: EV charger installation in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And you can mention that it was a residential project. On this page, you want to include before and after pictures, job specifications, and a customer quote or testimonial. Internal link, you also want to provide internal links to service pages and Google reviews. The idea here is that if someone is considering your services, they're likely going to look at any testimonials or project studies that you have. And then once they are convinced that you are a credible provider, then they're going to go to the service page. And you want to make sure that those are interlinked both ways, because depending on the prospect's journey, they may decide to first hit the service page. You have that case study on your service page so they learn more about the work that you're capable of, or they might land on the case study page and then they might want to circle back and learn more about your service. Nevertheless, internal linking is very important. Having that case study or project study, it builds hyperlocal trust and topical relevance. And the more specific you can be, the better. So you want to geo-target, include the city, if possible, include the neighborhood. You also want to have a separate page for each project that you complete. So give you an example of what not to do, and I'm sorry I'm calling someone out here in New Mexico, but you can see here, they have a projects page, and this is what I see is very common with electricians. So just looking at these photos, you can see that all of these solar panel photos looks like they come from the same installation project. So what I would suggest to this company is that instead of just having pictures, have an actual page where it says something like Santa Fe, a commercial solar panel installation. And then on that page, include a quick write-up of the project, and also, of course, include the photos, and always try to communicate what are the results. And maybe it takes some time for the customer to realize this, but by installing solar panels, we were able to save X percentage on our electric bills every month. Something that's going to really encourage someone to take that next step. It's not just touchy-feely, but there are bottom line impact for the work that you do. So again, don't do this. Actually include dedicated project pages and follow the best practices that I just mentioned. Now heading back over to the slideshow, we're going to move on to number 6. And number 6 is all about dominating your brand in the search results. You want to dominate searches for queries like your brand. So let's say you're Destiny Electrical based in Nashville. So Destiny Electrical, Electrician, Nashville. You want to make sure that anytime someone searches that, your site is number 1. And that's across all search opportunities, from Google search, Bing search, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Facebook, whatever someone might be searching that has a search functionality. You want to make sure that your company is showing up number 1. And then long term, you want to be able to take your brand out. And then if someone just says Nashville Electrician or Electrician Nashville, you're still there at the top. So you want to push consistent phrasing across all platforms. So this includes your Google business profile. I highly recommend for my clients to establish some presence on Reddit, some presence on Quora, and blogs. And this doesn't mean just go and hang out in the Electrician subreddits or the Electrician threads on Quora. Figure out what are those local subreddits. So here in Houston, there's a very active Houston subreddit. So if I have a client here in Houston, he's an electrician, I would tell him or her to go out there and maybe once a week, maybe a few times a month, go and see if anyone's talking about anything related to electric work and plant your flag. Hey, so-and-so, we're electrical services experts here in Houston, and there's an answer to your question. And you want to make sure that it's not too salesy. So always, again, lead with education, lead with knowledge. But once you start establishing that rapport, then you can start mentioning your company name or maybe even linking to your website. And every time that you answer a question or post something, you want to have some type of boilerplate. Sticking with the Houston example or Nashville example, you can say something like, we're Destin Electrical. We specialize in EV charging installations for Nashville homeowners and business owners. We've been operating in this space for the last 10 years. That was off the top of my head, but you get the point. So you always want to call out your company name, what you're specialized in, who you serve, and why someone should choose you. But make sure that's consistent across the board. And over the time, this helps large language models, search algorithms connect and anchor you in your location and your niche in different searches. And then you can also monitor the search volume for your company name as a marketing KPI. I use a tool called Google Search Console, and which I'll do a quick screen share here at the end of this video, which will show you how often people are searching for your company name and variations of it and how that's trending over time. If people are searching for your name plus niche plus city, you're winning. And that's the ultimate goal of effective local SEO. Moving on to number 5. Number 5 fixes a problem I see on 95% of electrical business websites. Link from blog posts to service and location pages. So a few tips ago, I mentioned the importance of internal linking. I jumped right in, but internal linking is how you are adding links, the little blue underlying links, onto different pages on your website. And you want to make sure you're using a logical flow there. So typically blog posts, I say blog posts, but if you like video more, you might post video on your website. Those are usually going to be the entry points into your website, unless someone's already know what they want and they are looking for your services or your location pages. But a blog post, you're sharing them to social media. People come in from social, maybe they come in from email. And then you want to ensure that you, within those blog posts, link to more commercial pages. Like maybe you have a specific location page. Maybe you have a specific service page that's related to that blog post or that content that you're posting. And you want to use keyword-rich anchor text is the little text that's in that blue section of your site or your link. So if I can show you a quick example here, let's see. So let's say I'm on the John Moore site. They're a electrical service company. They also do other things here in Houston. So you see all of these different city and town names. So looking at League City would be your anchor text. So when you're adding content to the site, you can actually specify what's in an anchor. So the point here is you want to ensure that whatever you're using for that anchor text, that's something that's relevant to the page you're linking them to. So if you, let's say you provide EV charging installation services in Nashville, you have a blog post about that, and you want to link to your EV charging installation page, Then in your anchor text, you should do something like EV charger installation, EV charger installers in Nashville, or so forth. So make sure that it's relevant. And try to stay away from generic anchor text, click here or learn more. By adding a proper internal linking structure, this builds topical clusters and supports crawling from the different search engines. Internal links help pass authority to priority pages and reduces bounces by guiding users deeper into your site. The blog posts, some people are hit or miss on them. I still like them because they can be a way to expand your keyword and topic coverage. And just think of those as more placements on search results on the web that can drive users deeper into your site. Your internal link should act like a lead pop line, not a dead end. Moving on to number 4, and this is a brilliant one because it makes other people do your marketing for you. I suggest interviewing other electricians. Maybe you have some buddies, you're at different companies, but you're not necessarily competing with each other, or other complementary areas like inspectors in your region. And you can publish these interviews on your blog, or your guest posted on trade sites, or if it's a video, add it to YouTube. This types of collaboration encourages backlinks from featured professionals. So typically if someone is featured in some content and you share it with them, human nature, they're going to want to share it with their network, share it via email, share it on their website. And you're all about getting that backlink. That's really going to be helpful for SEO. And it's not some spammy backlink, but it's something that's local or niche or industry relevant. And you can build topical relevance around different areas that are important for your business and that are pain points for your customers and prospective customers. And as you can imagine, this is great for social media, especially if you're doing anything with video or audio. Content with outside voices equals more trust and more links, and it's that simple. Moving on to number 3. Number 3 is preparing for the future of search. So again, if you've seen any of the videos on this channel, I've spoken regularly about AI-powered search and how it's going to change the landscape of being discoverable on search engines for electricians. At the time of this video, here in the last week, Google has rolled out AI mode, and that's going to really change the game, where even it might affect the effectiveness of local service ads. But it's all about preparing for the future. And if you are on top of it, ahead of the curve, you're going to be in a good place when more people are going to AI-powered search instead of traditional search. You want to make sure that you're getting named in review sites, forums, and expert directories. I'm not a big fan of Thumbtack or other lead generation platforms. However, they are where many people go, your customers go to look, but we want to find opportunities to get reviews there, get your name mentioned. Some of those different sites, if you pay at a certain tier, you can also put out some expert content. Those are great ways to, again, anchor your brand for your location and for the niche electrical services that you offer. Some of the popular platforms for AI power search and LLM includes Quora, Clutch, and Reddit. You want to make sure to add FAQs to any of the service pages on your site. I suggest starting with 4 or 5 per page, and then you want to optimize for answer style queries. Again, there is a way to respond to FAQs on your website. It's called natural language processing, or NLP for short. I have a prompt that I use, and I'm happy to share it here in the YouTube video description, but very important that you are answering questions in a way that a human would. So that sounds weird, but I think far too long people create content just for SEO, just for the search bots, but they forget you are selling to humans. Also, ask customers to reference your brand and testimonial. So just name dropping you whenever they're talking about your company can be a great way to anchor your brand in LLMs. And I'm sorry, LLMs, if you're not familiar, that stands for large language models. It's pretty much the general category name for tools like ChatGPT. And just think about this. If ChatGPT can't find you, neither can tomorrow's customer. Moving on to number 2. Number 2 is all about who you know in your local market. So you want to prioritize backlinks from nearby businesses. Perhaps these are customers or projects. If you're involved with any chambers of commerce or any other local organizations, these are great, powerful local backlinks. And they're powerful because they establish you as a legitimate electrical services company, but also they're relevant. They're from other businesses and organizations in your area. If you have the opportunity to get any media coverage, maybe any short clips or interviews, always take advantage of those opportunities because, again, backlinks from news websites are very powerful. Some of the best local backlinks you can get. And then also consider offering testimonials in exchange for backlinks. Let's say maybe you use a local bookkeeper, volunteer to provide a testimonial for their bookkeeping services in exchange for they post it to your site or to their site and link back to you. And think about all of the different professionals that you work with in regards to your business. And those can be opportunities for linkbacks, assuming that you're happy with their work. Also want to submit to electrician directories and build citations. We will be having a blog post on our site that shows all of the important directories for electricians. And then also look at opportunities to be a guest on local home improvement podcasts or programs. Just search who are those influencers in that space. And that could be a great way. They're likely not interviewing electricians every day. So that could be a great way for you to provide some unique value to their audience and get more local coverage for you and your company. And then also don't forget non-obvious partners, HVAC companies, roofing companies, real estate agents. And local SEO, your neighbors matter more than a national press. A link from your local chamber of commerce is worth more than a mention in a national trade publication. And finally, we land on number 1. And this is the foundation that everything else builds on. You want to tailor each page to a specific city plus service. You want to include unique copy, job photos, FAQs, reviews, and clear calls to action. Avoid dense content across locations. Google will ignore it. Show why you're the obvious choice for that area. Mobile design and speed must also be flawless. All SEO roads lead to this, a page that turns traffic into booked jobs. And quick example, and I already showed this, but think about your service area and all of the different towns, cities, neighborhoods. So again, I'm going to go back to John Moore. You see here, they've pretty much have a comprehensive coverage of the Houston area. And if you go to any of these pages, I clicked on Memorial, it's very specific to Memorial. They are calling out Memorial in the content, and then they also have different mentions. One way they can take this to the next level, and it does require a bit of legwork, but AI tools are so good right now, who knows, you might be able to do it from your office, have actual pictures of the area. So Memorial, that's a popular community here in Houston. You can have pictures of different landmarks around the Memorial area, which these look like stock footage or stock images. So that would be one improvement. And then also taking it to even a next level, have project pins on a map where it's isolated to that specific area. And then you can put project pins on where you've completed projects over the years. And that's going to just add more local relevance and more credibility for someone in the Memorial area or looking for electrical services in the Memorial area. But also look at their URL. So Memorial Electrical Services. So that goes back to one of my previous suggestions on making sure that you're really thinking about your URL structure. One thing to consider, service area, you could probably take that out and replace that with Houston. I think that would be more powerful for them. But nevertheless, they are doing well with their SEO, so they have other things going for them. And then Sugar Land, I'll click here as well. And then here again, they are changing things. So much like Sugar Land started as a single company town back in 1909, John Moore began as a modest plumbing company, except much later in 1965. When we were getting started, Sugar Land began to emerge as a city with neighborhoods like Venetian Estates, Sugar Creek, and First Colony. So that's something that's specific to Sugar Land. It doesn't have to be an entire essay about that location. That would be very difficult to scale. But what are some local tidbits, some local history, some local nuances that you can weave into the content to make it more relevant for the area? So just think through that in your different service areas. Now, here's what ties this all together: our full circuit growth method. Visibility alone doesn't cut it. Electricians need a system that ties SEO, content, Google Business, optimization, review management, LLM visibility, and link building into one growth loop. That's the full circuit growth method, turning rankings into revenue. Rankings mean nothing if they don't wire up to revenue. This method takes you from a lack of qualified leads all the way to your dream outcome through a systematic approach. Do you want to know where your visibility breaks down? We'll audit your local rankings, reviews, content, site structure, and Google Business profile. This also would include a personalized growth roadmap. So we're not just copying and pasting what we are doing for electricians in Seattle and doing the same for electricians in Detroit. It's going to be personalized to where you are as a business and your competitive landscape. And this is zero pressure, just actionable insights. This is ideal for electrical businesses making $500,000 or more in annual revenue. Book a growth audit if you're serious about owning page 1 for your local area. At Destiny Marketing Solutions, we help electricians identify, launch, and optimize the marketing platforms that actually bring in quality leads. Let's fix your platform stack and stop the budget leaks. And now finally, that expert tip that I promise you. Use Google Search Console's Pages plus Queries view. You want to filter by low impression, low click pages, and see what keywords almost rank being maybe they're on page 2 or page 3, so anywhere from positions 11 through 30. These near misses are your fastest wins. You want to optimize those pages to get immediate traction without creating new content. Growth doesn't always require more effort, just better focus. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button. I drop SEO strategies for electrical businesses every week that most marketing agencies won't share. And if you're ready to stop playing guessing games with your online visibility, book that growth audit. The link is in the description. And before I go, I wanted to actually share Google Search Console. So this is a new client in Nashville. So Google Search Console, you do need to set it up first. It's a free utility from Google, and it allows you to get some really good information about how people are landing on your website from Google Search. And what I like about Google Search Console is the queries report that I just mentioned. So it can show you what people are actually searching, as you can see here in the top queries column, what they're actually searching and where your business is showing up. It may not be showing up number 1, but it's showing up somewhere in the top 100 of the search results. This tool, I use it in combination with an SEO tool like a SEMrush or Ahrefs, because sometimes these queries won't show up in those SEO software tools. And so with that, let's say as we continue to build out for this client, you can see that Electrical Nashville, Tennessee, Electricians Nashville, Tennessee, these are at the top, the number of impressions. So you want to look at what are those queries that you're getting impressions for, but I also like to add a filter here and their name, Enterprise Solutions, add a filter to make sure you're filtering out your company name and you can see only the non-brand queries. So that's very important because your company name, you should be owning that. And if you're not, you really have some serious work to do. So you can see here, we have different things. So they get a lot of search queries for their project. So Advent Health is a popular project that they completed in recent years. And then just go through this list. And if you see something that's interesting, that could be a starting point for content that you create on that topic related to electricians, IT solutions, or wherever it may be. You can also look at the pages tab and see here which pages are getting the most impressions on your website. So usually it's going to be your home page. Then you can see where are the other popular pages. And this is something you can also get in Google Analytics. But what you can do here, let's say if they really want to go after their electrical services service offering here over the next year or so, if we were to go and find an electrician here, so electrical services Nashville, if we click that and then we look at what pages, we see that it's the home page. So this particular company, they offer different service categories, not just electrical services. And so what that tells me is that we should strongly consider building out a dedicated electrical services page and then sprinkling in all of the things I mentioned in this video, like Nashville electrical services, and maybe even going further there. So what I did there, again, I clicked the query electrical services Nashville, and then I see which page is popping up for that search. You can also toggle this average position, and it'll tell you the average position. So the way to interpret this is that here at the start of the campaign, they're averaging their homepage on average is ranking at number 82 for electrical services Nashville, which that's like on page 9. So nowhere to be found really, but they're somewhere in Google's radar. So now we need to look at how they can really optimize for that phrase if that's something they want to go after, and obviously make that number higher. We want that number to be somewhere at 10 or less. That would indicate you're on the first page. So I hope this has been helpful. And again, if you are interested in having this type of analysis for your company, the link is in the description where you can schedule your full circuit growth audit for your electrical services businesses. Thank you, and until next time.